Hello, and so happy to see you here. Okay, so I scheduled a live to go on and discovered that my technical issues are still giving me challenges. So I am going to hope and pray that my waiting peoples discover that. Yes, I'm so happy. This is great. Okay, welcome to day one of Fibromyalgia Recovery Workshop, where we're going to discuss about skills and strengths. And what I'm going to do is share with you some basic details and see what we can do. Just a second here. I do apologize. I realized somebody's waiting on one of them, and I didn't even mean to. And so, anyhow, I'm just going to continue knowing that eventually this is going to be figured out. I mean, technology is, yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out. They say that you can schedule out these videos to go out live later on, and I'm still trying to figure out how to do that. And I thought I had it down pat. And then I discovered that I can't do that. So with all that be said, I'm going to see if I can do something here. And again, of course, I can't do anything in regards to opening that one because of technology. So without further ado, hopefully that other person figures out that I am live here on a different spot because they're in waiting. And anyhow, so yeah, I feel so awful because I was so excited. I had it all down pat. Anyhow, without further ado, let's share with you who is Scarlo, this wonderful lady here. Hi, I'm Scarlo, and I help women learn to live a low to no pain life, especially when it comes to fibromyalgia and pains and challenges with fatigue and so on. So I have this lovely handy dandy workbook. How you'll get that is by setting up an appointment with me where we can connect and I can talk with you, see if I can help you at all. And you'll definitely get the workbook regardless. If we can't go any further, that's fine. And that way you can get all the help that I can possibly give, even guidance to places that I can't help because I am merely a certified life coach and ordained minister. So the workbook is to understand what is fibromyalgia. What is it? And to identify strengths and access your own resources, your strengths, and other positive things in life, and giving acknowledgement to the past without dwelling on it. It's very important. So it's easy to go on challenges and stressors and triggers that life hands us, but we've got to take this and turn it around because it can be a stressor in and of itself. So I do not have the credentials to be a counselor. I was raised with the gift of coaching people through life, and therefore I became certified a couple of years ago. So I learned about this challenging syndrome. Now, fibromyalgia is a syndrome. We're going to define fibromyalgia in a moment here. I just want you to get a background, my story, okay? Back about 40 years ago when my best friend's mother had it. And I remember how we would try and touch her or give her a hug, and she was just, ouch, don't touch me, that hurts. And I could tell she was in pain, but I couldn't tell how to help her. So I remember the pressure And what I didn't realize is that I would be in the same boat one day. I had no idea. So as a child, I had a bunch of trauma happen. Nothing like, sexual or abuse in that kind of sense, but nothing comparison to what what happened in my 20s with lies and deception and the taking away of my kids. It led to a complete nervous breakdown and a court-ordered divorce. So that there's a lot of twists and turns in that, and it was an unsurmountable amount of pain, muscle tension, weakness, and health issues. I had no idea the extent. Now, I was officially diagnosed with fibromyalgia in a wheelchair and struggling to function. And the fight was on. Because I remember the doctor looking at me and saying, "You have a choice. You really do. Do you want to be in a wheelchair? Or do you want to be up and functioning with everybody else?" Well, I didn't want to be in pain, and I definitely didn't want to be in a wheelchair. Absolutely not. So I had a lot of twists and turns to get where I am today. I live a low to no pain life and have done so for the last 10 years and been able to put together a program to help those with syndromes to do the same. This syndrome to do the same. Is it easy? No. But is it possible? Oh, yeah, definitely. So next, I want to get started here. How about you? I am ready. Today, we start with the basics. What is fibromyalgia? I mean, yes, it is painful and debilitating to say the least. Many think it is made up and a farce. This could not be further from the truth. I mean, even doctors, there are some doctors who don't believe in it. There are some professionals who don't, and there is so much medical evidence that it does. The explanation that I give will help to understand why there is such vast misinformation. Fibromyalgia, as defined by the medical community. Fibromyalgia is short for fibromyalgia syndrome. A syndrome being a collection of symptoms. The term is derived from the Latin fibro, meaning fibrous tissues, my, meaning muscles, and algia, meaning pain. This is from the newsmedia.net, medical.net. Now, history starts with the term the history starts with fibromyalgia with the term fibrositis. Was coined by Gowers in 1904 and not changed to fibromyalgia until 1976. Smith laid the foundation of modern FMS, or fibromyalgia syndrome, in 1972 by describing widespread pain and tender points. And this was pubmed.ncbi.nlm.nih.gov. And basically, that's the National Institute for Health. And it's a medical website that you go to and get all sorts of information. So it is also noted that this is more than 3 times as common in people who were later diagnosed with MS. Now, this is per the multiple sclerosis news today.com. Okay. Now, I find this very interesting because even today, sometimes I'll get these feelings of pains and trigger points and aches and like twitches and feeling like weighted legs, like they can't function, and other health issues. What I didn't realize is that there are so many other tests that need to be checked before you can just say, oh, it's fibromyalgia, or oh, it's multiple sclerosis, or oh, it's this syndrome, or that syndrome, or this health issue, or that health. No. Rather than going and deciding, oh, it's this or doing that, doing blood tests, definitely. Then there's also a complete check, MRI, CT, PET. These are all different imaging things that the doctors have to order and decide if they are right for you. I was reminded of this just recently, actually, because I described to my doctor about my hands and my feet starting to get cold, as well as aching and the feeling of heaviness and everything else. He says, it's time for a blood test. I'm like, what do you mean? He says, it could be the fibromyalgia, but more likely the thyroid, because hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism, which is Graves' disease, tend to be some of the precursors to fibromyalgia. There are also many other, like autoimmune diseases, and different, all sorts of different health issues that can actually trigger the stresses and trigger trauma inside your body. And if you're not able to cope with it, your body's going to automatically take it back on itself and make you so mad. So, and I mean internally mad. You don't even realize what's really going on. So for today, what we're discussing here is skills and strengths. Now, originally I had it set up to be triggers and stressors, but I thought about that for a while and I was like, I don't want to do triggers and stressors. That's not even appropriate, because triggers and stressors, well, no, I want to do it positive. We're trying to focus on the positive here, and that is skills and strengths. So for today, we're going to focus on the basics. What could have started this pain and fatigue? For some, this might be easy. For others, might have to think. So giving you some ideas, may or may not have control over this. Awareness is half the battle. Okay. My original word for this, as I said, not so uplifting. So, and this is going to sound crazy for a moment, but just go with me. You might get it. Okay. Now, the symptoms that signal fibromyalgia, as I had mentioned earlier, pain and tenderness all over, aches and pains, fatigue, sleep issues, mood disorders, morning stiffness, swelling or tingling in your extremities, headaches, or irritable bowel syndrome, or IBS. Now, these are symptoms that might signal FMS. Now, the challenge is they also can signal other health conditions like MS. They can also signify mental health issues that are required. Now, I'm talking different professions here that you have to go to. There's the counselor, the psychiatrist, the neurologist, the nephrologist. Now, nephrologist has to do with with kidneys and kidney function, and yes, that can be affected. Just all these different things that our body is so unique and so special that each one of us cannot be equally defined with fibromyalgia syndrome, which drives medicine nuts. Now, another clarification. Medicine is science. Medical professionals can only go based on current science and past science outcomes. They can create trials and they can create results that's going into statistics. But the truth of the matter is that medicine in itself is science. That's why one of the requirements for being in medical is biology, because our bodies are all biological. I mean, biological parents, biological siblings, biological people. Now, I'm not against biological family, anything like that. And frankly, it doesn't matter with fibromyalgia syndrome because it's not hereditary. Don't let anybody tell you it's hereditary. Okay, there is no proof. In fact, there is more proof that fibromyalgia is triggered by underlying health issues, but mostly triggered by trauma and stress. And I've clarified this repeatedly with my physical therapists, my counselors, my psychiatrists, and my doctors. And we have all come to the same conclusion. And my peers, my networking peers, trauma and stress are the basis for fibromyalgia. And the reason why these underlying health issues cause challenges to our body is because we don't know how to respond to the fibromyalgia or to the traumas and to the stresses put on our body by these other health issues. You see, the body takes in a lot of stuff. And something that I keep remembering my psychiatrist telling me, and I have to check myself a lot. And this is, I'm talking not only to you, but to me too. Okay. There is, for even depression, I have to checkmate myself. Is it external, environmental? Is it people around me, things around me, where I'm at, my surroundings? That's why you need sometimes a timeout, vacation, which we go into later. Or is it chemical? Now, chemical for depression is something completely different, and it can instigate a fibro flare-up if you have fibromyalgia tendency. Does it mean if you have depression, you're going to get fibromyalgia? Nah, not even close. What it means is that you can have that tendency towards it. And if you don't take care of it, if you don't take care of that depression, yes, it's going to turn into some sort of flare up in your body. I mean, if it's depression and stress in your body can actually turn into so many health conditions besides fibromyalgia. And I'm not going to go into the others because I'm a fibromyalgia coach, life coach. I am not these other doctors and professionals. I'm just telling you that stress can cause your body havoc. And the best way to get it checked out, talk to people, talk to the doctors. Do not talk to people that have it per se without knowing that they have a background of knowledge in it. Because if you're talking to somebody who has no background, who's not a doctor, and even sometimes doctors and medical professionals, you have to make sure that they specialize in fibromyalgia. That's a skill. And their strength, if they factor in fibromyalgia with the treatment, that's a huge strength. Which takes me into, for today, about the skills and the strengths. Okay? And yes, if you contact me, you can get all of this workbook in complete setting and be able to come back to this video anytime. And I'm feeling really badly for the person who's in waiting because they haven't left and realized that I'm live on a different line, and it's not because it's just because of my technology and lack of understanding. Anyhow, in fact, that's not a skill of mine. It's something that I'm constantly working on, and eventually one day I might become really strong with it. But that's not my priority. My priority is my skills and my strengths. So here it is, discovering your skills and strengths. Okay. And I'm sure this looks backwards to you. So I'm just going to read it to you because I could just tell that it was backwards and I don't know how to fix it. So, so we want to find our abilities and grow. And to do this, we look beyond the pains, fatigue, ailments, no matter how they appear. Okay. Now, the cool part is with this, you do not need this workbook if you choose not to get it and download it. Okay. You can take notes. In fact, I highly recommend you take notes. Okay. Take notes and ask questions. You can email me and ask questions. It requires no interactions except for just, hey, I have a question. So the first question, what am I good at? I mean, you can go a whole long yard sometimes and find out all these different things that you're all good at. Oh, yeah. But what are you really good at that doesn't stress you, that can help you on a daily basis? Now, in fibromyalgia, you have to really focus in on the daily routines and the daily activities. I mean, sometimes you'll see these coaches. This is why I get annoyed with some coaches, because they don't understand. I'm like, if you don't deal with fibromyalgia, please send them my way, because you're going to teach them traditional methods for traditional people to do traditional ways. And fibromyalgia is not traditional. That's why we drive people nuts. Yeah. Because when you're not traditional, they're like, what? What? Huh? You don't get it. You need to plan for the day, plan for the week, plan for the month, plan for the year. Not with fibromyalgia, darling. Fibromyalgia takes everything that we have all been taught and says, stop, throw it away. What are your skills? What are you good at? Because then you're feeding positivity into your head. And that's what you need. Your mental state needs to hear that positivity. So how do I do things? Do I do them alone or together? Okay. Now with fibromyalgia, sometimes it's better to do things alone and to do them at your pace. And maybe have somebody who's willing to be there and maybe talk you through things or walk you through things. But here's the caveat of that. And I know I'm not saying that word right. Basically, the side note to take on to this. Having people to help you out and to be there to help you to do things, they need to understand fibromyalgia and they need to be able to catch you. What I mean by catch you is, are you overdoing it? Slow down. What are your limits? Slow down. What are your boundaries? Slow down. You need to know all of these for your body to like you and for you to like your body. Because right now, if you're in pain or you're fatigued or you're just having overall health issues, I'm telling you in full love and full honesty, you're okay. But honestly, you hate yourself. And that's not to be and not to be cruel. And I don't mean hate yourself as a whole. I'm saying there's some aspects, and maybe hate's a wrong word now that I think about it. Frustration, annoyance, to the point of upset, to the point of other issues. And the word anger and struggle can come up in there. Now, anger and struggle, I made a post recently for my fellow coaches. So I wanted to hear their information. And it was very interesting, the results, to be quite honest. I was like, really? I'm going to tell you, if a coach says, when you say, I am struggling, they say, okay, so you're struggling. They don't go any deeper. Run. Don't stay around because they don't understand your mind is a terrible thing to waste. 1. Number 2, why are you struggling? With fibromyalgia, one of the biggest struggles is not being able to get around without pain, not being able to be active without fatigue or pain, not being able to participate. And it gets emotional and it gets depressing and it gets frustrating. And you want to throw up your arms and say, forget it. Or maybe toss everything around and say, I give up. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say here, going back to that struggle, anger, they're blankets. They're blankets. So you have to go underneath. What are you struggling with? Okay. And this part I feel comfortable with talking about because I tend to go into the gray areas for counseling. And I am not going to be a counselor. I do not feel I'm supposed to be a counselor. But I've had people tell me that I've got it down pat. I was raised around the counseling setting, as I mentioned earlier. And one thing I learned was, what are you really angry about? What is really going on down there? So struggling. I am struggling to function. Okay. Your issue is not so much to struggle to function, but what is the function that you're having a trouble with? Because maybe what used to be a skill, what used to be a strength, no longer is. Because the fibromyalgia has changed it. Yeah. Fibromyalgia can change your strengths and your skills to a complete 180, and you have to retrain. Here's a prime example. Okay. I'm using my life as an example here because when I saw this, and I had a lot of aha moments through putting this whole thing together. Okay. I was raised around affirmations and mantras and prayer and just being in spirit and just relaxing. And I walked away from it. Not 100%, but I did. I walked away from it. I did come back to it, but I walked away from it for a while, and I'd say about a decade worth. And during that decade is when everything came in waves and started to hit me emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually. And I didn't get it. Okay. So I am sharing with you from personal experience and acknowledging that this actually helped me to get my certification as a coach, because I realized I'd actually been raised to be a coach and didn't realize it. So what I also realized was that I have gifts and talents, skills of thread art, paint, mostly thread arts, but painting, drawing, I enjoy doing those things. And I enjoy helping people to learn those things. Could I do it on a full-time basis? I don't know. Simply because my wrists give out really easy. But that's me. That might not be. You have to think about your skills and your strengths. Do you enjoy being in front of the camera? Do you prefer being off camera but sharing with people? I mean, these are just different things that you can think about. The skills and the knowledge that you have acquired. I mean, here's a prime example. I studied medical and training, and you know what? I realized that I love medical. I really do. That's why I thought about being counselor, being nutritionist, being doctor. I don't have the time or the strength to be able to maneuver the cost and so on of college to get that. Doesn't mean it won't happen. It just means at the time right now, it's not, I don't see it as a viable thing for me to do. Doesn't mean that I might not be shown the path later on. Hey, by the way, this is what you need to do. So be it. I do have faith. I do have hope. I do have love. And I do have a meaning to live on that crest of faith, hope, and love. And sharing in faith, hope, and love. Just a forewarning. Okay. So what I want you to do is define what are you good at, how you do things alone or together, and acknowledge. We'll go later into boundaries and so on a little bit later on in this workshop, because this is a 3-day workshop. This is day 1, and then we have tomorrow and Friday. Okay. So today, let's see here. We're just going to finish up this basic part. Is called MEPS, or mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. Okay. So skills, and I want you to take the skills and knowledge that you have acquired and make note of it. And then what do you want to develop in yourself? And that might be as simple as just functioning day to day, living a low to no pain life, and finding skills and strengths that will work with you so that you can do this. Okay. So going back, I want you to take a look at some basics here. Okay. Do apologize for all these but I'm making sure that I don't do anything silly or stupid here. Let's see here. Because what I did, I have some of tomorrow's stuff in with today. By the way, this is my very first time doing this workshop. There is no other fibromyalgia workshop that I am aware of that even exists that covers the information here that we are talking about. So any of your input, your ideas, your updates, your thoughts, and opinions greatly appreciated in the comments. And please, also in the middle of all of this, if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. And if you have liked so far what you have learned, please hit the like button. Okay, now that we've crossed all of that stuff, and you've noticed that I've got a little bit of a miscommunication in my brain. By the way, I'm getting myself checked out because I'm showing signs of what's called fibro fog. And the doctor caught it and said, I don't think you have fibro fog. So we're getting some blood workup done and find out my thyroid might be off. Did I say that I understand? This is a point, case in point. So we were talking about the strengths and we're talking about the skills. So we just mentioned the skills. What are the skills that you have working alone together and so on. So this one, it kind of like squares and basically marking mentioned earlier mental, emotional, physical, spiritual. Okay. And I want you to think of 3 strengths in each one. And you might start with the skills. Okay. Your skills in each one, and then 3 strengths in each one. It's very important. And this is more for you than for me. Because once you write it down, it's like your brain sees it. And it's like, oh, okay, I get it. So I want you to by completing this, because strengths they lay in spots. Completing this will give you a beginning space where your strengths lay. They might not be where you think they are. And so this is the beginning process of self-discovery and living a life that's low to no pain. So I want you to list the resources you can get from each area. And we're going to revisit this from different angles each day, as I mentioned earlier. And that is the mental. So mentally, I want you to develop, so mentally 3 skills like affirmation, prayer, mantras, relaxation, so on. Now, some of these can be repeat, okay? Meaning you might find mental and spiritual being combined together. And for you, that's great. I mean, if it works for you, if it really brings it out for you, that's great. And so what are your strengths? Do you, for physical, do you get active? And mind you, you can get active, but with fibromyalgia, you can overdo it. So you got to be careful. So that's what the skill is, learning how to accommodate the skill with strength. And your strength is to acknowledge, oh, I need to slow down, or I need to make adjustments. Okay. Mentally, same thing. Emotionally, do I get upset easily? Do I get stressed out easily? Do I have challenges? And my strength is acknowledging them. Maybe getting some ideas on how to pause those emotional outbursts and taking a break for you. Spiritually is taking a look and saying, okay, I'm good at praying, okay? Or maybe I'm good at relaxation and just mindfulness and meditation and just taking it a breath in and breath out. Maybe you have a certain degree that has gives you strengths in all of these areas. Making note of that, and then how it creates a strength for you, because knowing that will help you to understand better did this cause is this possibly a trigger or a stressor? You see, you have to it kind of correlates together. But I want you to really focus on the positive, which is the skills and the strengths. So I also give you note paper in the workbook, a little like 4 pieces of note paper, because I don't want you to have to stress over finding a paper to write down notes. And again, maybe you don't feel like you need to write down notes. Maybe you feel like you're fine. The fact of the matter is that the reason why I'm very similar, but I do write down notes. I also get rid of those notes shortly after, because the way my brain works is I write it down, I see it. I actually have a memory, or at least when it's working right, I have an eidetic memory, which means I can remember things, even things that are from my past, from childhood. And my family's like, say what? Say, huh? And that was diagnosed by a psychiatrist. And the counselors and psychiatrists also confirmed that writing it out, you tend to put it to memory. You tend to take it in. It's a mindset thing. And don't ask me how it works, because that's going into a completely different arena of profession that is psychiatry, psychology, and those kind of doctors answer that kind of question. So I'm just sharing what I know from my perspective. So the next thing I want to invite you to do is to join I have 2 Facebook groups. Okay, I'm going to tell you the difference. The Facebook group Fibromyalgia Recovery is Real, and it's actually Fibro Recovery is Real, and it's CFS, which is chronic fatigue syndrome, and CP, which is chronic pain. That one is more geared towards just faith, hope, and love in general. Just generalized sharing peace, kind of the 70s vibe. Peace and love, with a little bit of faith put into it. And faith in this, what surrounds you, and so on. Then we have Fibro Kingdom Academy. Now, if you want to go into both, you are more than welcome to be a part of both, because I'm going to be alternating between them. And in Fibro Kingdom Academy, it's a lot more my ordained minister side coming out, where I do not preach. I do not like preaching, but I will share. I share in love. I share in hope. I share in faith, and I bring in biblical perspectives. And if somebody asks me biblical standpoints and how it relates to fibromyalgia and how it relates to all the different issues, that's where I go. Okay. I might bring in some biblical stuff, but I won't be so out there in Fibro Recovery is Real. So there's the difference. So now that you have an idea of what I cover and how I approach the challenges of the syndrome, I'm going to invite you to come and learn even more. I do go live here weekly on my YouTube channel. Every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I go live here and I share questions and my answers to questions. Now, if there's a question that I'm given, I will address it if it's not fibro related, or if it needs a different direction, then that's the way it goes. Otherwise, I answer those questions live, and you can always ask me more. And I do apologize. Today, I had set it up to where it would auto start, and I discovered that there's tech behind it that I didn't understand. I was afraid that was going to happen. Anyhow, so next, what I also do is group coaching. And that's done in these free groups on Facebook. I do have a Telegram line, and if you are interested in Telegram line, please comment below that you're interested in that you're interested in the Telegram link, and I will personally make sure that the Telegram link goes in there. Now, right now, my whole entire program, my whole coaching program, it's high. This is it. Okay. I do have a team of medical professionals, but they don't do the work that I'm doing. Okay. In fact, what I do not know of any other coach that does it. Okay. I know of one other fibro coach, actually 2, I take that back. One is in the UK, and another one, I'm not sure where she's at, but she takes a faith-based, but from a spiritualist aspect, and I don't. Not to say that it's wrong or anything. We both have similar stuff, but our techniques are night and day. Okay. I'm also the first one to do a workshop that I'm aware of. If you know of somebody who's done a fibromyalgia workshop, I want to know about it. I absolutely do. I hope you tell me about it if there's a workshop that I don't know about, because I honestly don't know. Just like probably a lot of people don't know about this workshop, but I'm sure it's going to show up later on. Anyhow, so you can connect directly with me at fibrorecoveryisreal@gmail.com, and that's fibrorecoveryisreal@gmail.com. So I also have a membership site and course. Both include coaching from me. And if you're interested in either, you can email me for more information. Also, in the description below, please feel free. This is an absolutely free opportunity to connect with me one-on-one, 15 minutes, and I will go through your process and come up with some ideas to help you out and see if my programs can help you out and go from there. So I want to thank you for joining day one, and welcome, and so happy that you're here. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow on day 2 of Fibromyalgia Recovery Workshop, and there we'll be discussing PAM. No, not Pam the girl, but PAM is an acronym, and we'll discuss more tomorrow. So until then, I hope you have fun with the MEPS or MEPS, mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. Take care